Triple FX, episode 28.
28.
Ooh. Okay. Tell me if any of these relate to you. I want to grow my business, but I'm holding on too tightly to how I think it should look. I keep waiting until everything is perfect before I put myself out there. I want to create content, but I'm paralyzed by whether anyone will care. Does any of that resonate with you? So today we are talking about expansion. This is part 1 of a 4-part series, and before you expand, you need to let go. So that's what we're talking about.
Nice. This is our word of the year. As you can tell, with a 4-part series, we really like this word in concept. There's a few stats that I want to put out there before we start. There's a stat about NFL athletes. 70% of NFL athletes face financial hardships, bankruptcy, or basically going broke 3 to 5 years after they finish. 60% with NBA athletes, and 30 to 70%, it's very wide, with lottery winners. And these are interesting stats because what these people go through is financial expansion without a changed identity around finances. And if you fail to let go of an identity that may have served you in a previous version, your expansion can't hold. And these stats are very interesting because as we expand and explore this word this year, we're letting go of identities, we're letting go of certain ways of doing things in order to expand. And a lot of people think of expansion as growth, as get more, grow more. But before you can expand, you have to let go. You have to shed things. And these stats really point towards that. And that's really what this first part is about.
Those were some good stats you just had in your head.
You guys can fact check me on those, but
Yeah.
those are rough. Yeah.
Yeah. I think those were good stats to kick us off because there's a level that you need to get to, and if you're growing your business, but before that, like you said, you need to remove the mindset or expectations that don't serve you anymore. And we are going to talk about how this has showed up in our life, and we're going to share just some stories. And the first one is many years ago when we were in Puerto Vallarta, and we were in a place where we were unsure where we were going to stay next, and we had just let go of some clients, and so we were experiencing a lot of uncertainty, as it is when you're in an in-between phase. And so instead of like clinging on to, oh, this is where we're going to stay, or this is like who we're going to work with next, we sort of just let go. And at that time, this beautiful work exchange showed up, and we got to live at this hostel and do their social media and host events. And Lauren started DJing, and we got to create a lot of beautiful content on site and have experience with that. And it was amazing. And it was a time where, because we were open and we just like really melted away what we thought it was going to look like in that chapter, more aligned clients started showing up. And so that was a lesson for us on letting go of expectations of the outcome.
Yes. We really were in a position where we let go of expectations of what the clients would look like, what our next stay would look like. And we even had an idea of a work exchange, and we were feeling around for some work exchanges, but the one that we ended up at wasn't even on our radar. And it was right across from the Airbnb we were staying in. And it was a moment of surrender. And we were just like, you know what? Let's just go over there. It looks like they're doing something over there. Let's just pop over there and see what they have going on. And we let go of our expectations around the work exchanges we were already looking up. And this happened to be the most beautiful experience. And people to this day that we're still in touch with, or we still follow and see their journey. And the way it unfolded was just so unexpected. And it was a direct result of us not having expectations. Mm-hmm. So that was a great example of our lived experience. Not that long ago. You said many years. It was like 4 years.
That's
We're
many.
not that old.
That's many.
Ooh, I got one gray hair. What's next?
So the next one is a story of how we adjusted our packages as we were moving through it. So to explain a little bit more, we have this highest package. It is an offering where we provide both social media and podcast management. And so we had onboarded a client, and we realized there was a couple pieces within the system we set up to onboard and structure everything that needed tweaking. And we had to talk about it, and we just adjusted it as we went. And this was a perfect example of just like letting go of, oh, this is supposed to be how I run my business. This is supposed to be the package I have. This is what the world's telling me to do, whatever it is. But rather, what is my external situation telling me right now? Like, what is this client telling me right now that I need to adjust in our package? Okay, I'm going to do it. And so that was a situation for us to adjust and let go so we can serve our clients with excellence.
Going back to the stats that I mentioned earlier, we set this package up as our highest, our premium package, Tidal Wave, and we were ready to take on this work and to serve it with excellence. And we found ourselves in a position where the expansion came, and we saw holes. We saw holes in our thinking, in our identity, in our system, in our literal storage, and we adjusted as we went. If we made the mistake of taking these signs and just ignoring them, we wouldn't be able to expand. But this was some inner work in our business that we had to go through. By seeing these things, we saw where we were needing some improvement or some refinement, and we went and learned along the way instead of ignoring these signs.
Yeah, and it gave us also an opportunity, if you're someone who works with your spouse or a family member, it gave us an opportunity to rethink this package and like who's handling what. And it was a great just sort of checkpoint for us to realign and let go of, oh, I don't need to be doing this. I don't need to be doing that. This is what I'm going to focus on with this sort of client. And it was necessary.
It's like, oh, we want this high paying client, multiple high paying clients. This is what it takes.
Yeah.
And it showed us.
Yeah. It's like tightening the bolts a little bit, the screws. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last part of this is thinking about content creation. So if you're listening to this, you've probably made some content, whether it's a podcast you have or just social media. As a business owner, you can't really get around not showing up and creating content. And it's not your job, but it has become part of it. And there's a lot of mindset and narratives that might be negative that go along with creating content and showing up. And I think creating content is spiritual. I think it's transformational. And
Why do you think that?
because I think you learn a lot about yourself. And I think, I mean, if you're showing up and you push through those negative thoughts, you are building resilience, you know? And I think that's important, and that's part of the work. And with AI, you know, here and creating so much content so quickly, it's like we need to learn the lessons ourselves of showing up, getting on camera, telling our story, because only we can tell it. AI is not going to learn anything from that. It's up to us to show up and do it and let go of whatever thoughts are standing in our way.
You know, that reminds me of that clip we saw. I think Will.i.am from Black Eyed Peas said it. And he said, AI can't do yoga for you. You have to do the work. And same with what you're saying. So I can see how you can relate it with a spiritual development.
Yeah.
And getting past the feeling of, am I looking cringe?
Yeah.
Or
is anyone going to listen?
And then is anyone going to listen? Or, oh, this only got 200 views and 5 likes. It doesn't matter. You're building your portfolio. You're showing your growth. And the right people will see it.
Yeah. And you're reshaping your identity by making the content and sharing your story and your self-perception of how you are articulating your story and what messages you're sharing. So I think it's super important to throw those negative thoughts to the side.
Exactly that. And the mental fortitude it takes to see your content, whether it performs well or not, having and owning your own identity outside of the vanity metrics, and knowing that the content is pointing towards your offerings and your service, which is the real thing and the thing that matters, which you do with excellence. And the content is just there to support it. It's not there to make you check your phone every 5 minutes to see who's liking it or who's watching your story. And that's a part of the mindset shift or the identity that could be shed as we are also addicted to our phones, is letting go of that feeling of, I have to check to see who's liking it. Oh man, I got to make sure this gets 1,000 likes, or my podcast didn't get as many listens as I want. Like, that doesn't matter. What matters is how you view yourself.
Did I show up for myself? Did I make the thing?
Right.
Yeah.
And you respect yourself. Knowing you posted it, even if you felt cringe, even if it didn't get the views.
Yeah.
You trust yourself, you respect yourself, and that's the thing that matters most.
Yes. So, if you are here in your next chapter looking for expansion, what is blocking you? Is it your mindset? Is it how you expect things to look or turn out or be in your business? Whatever it is, just have a think about it and get ready for our next episode, part 2 of expansion. And remember, waves don't die. Bye.
Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ripple FX podcast. If you want more about connection, social media, podcasting, and life abroad, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Wave Enterprise Co.
I'm Lawrence.
And I'm Gina.
And we help female-owned wellness brands with podcasts and social media.
And remember, waves don't die.
Peace.